Thank you for listening to this podcast. In this short episode, I just want to talk to you a little bit about why I'm doing this, how this all came about, and also just give you an introduction to me. I guess in life, we all have stories. We've all been on our own unique journey, and mine really started in 2019. Before 2019, the words mental health were just two words. They never really had any meaning, and the first time I came across those words was watching an interview with Prince William and Prince Harry about what they'd been through in terms of their Princess Diana, and it was still just a phrase, mental health. I'd never really understood it, never really understood the impacts I could understand, but it's just different, isn't it? It's different when you've been through something, you've struggled, suddenly you then realise what it's like to struggle and can relate and empathise with other people who have struggled who are struggling. And for me in 2019, I was working and I was finding work stressful, and so just really busy with work, feeling overwhelmed. And I don't know, I guess sometimes when we're stressed we want to take on more, and there's people around me saying, I think you're doing too much. Didn't necessarily listen to them. I felt fine in that moment, but it was taking a toll on me that I wasn't aware of. And I was so stressed, burnt out, overwhelmed that one night I had a panic attack. And I was very confused. I didn't realise it was a panic attack at a time. Didn't even know they existed or what they were. And suddenly I became extremely anxious all the time. I didn't want to go to work because I didn't want to see people, but then I didn't want to stay at home and be on my own. And it was a really, really tough time. I was so much in my own head. Each and every day was just like a mental battlefield. And it was draining, mentally, physically, just exhausting when I got home after forcing myself to be at work and just trying to the whole time keep my cool and trying not to panic. And yeah, the days were long, and then I was struggling to sleep because I was just anxious about everything. I was anxious about having another panic attack, and it was just a really tough time. And what amazed me was the impact it had on me, how this panic attack, or this short, I could refer to as a short blip, just then suddenly controlled my life. I stopped doing the things I enjoyed doing, and I was just completely and utterly controlled by these feelings of anxiety. And I was like, there's got to be more to it than that. So I did go to therapy in the end. I was extremely reluctant to do so, I have to admit, to the point where my dad would literally pick me up from work, drive me to therapy, and then wait for an hour outside, and then drive me back to work, drop me off back at my car, and then I'd get in my car and then drive home. But if it wasn't for him and my partner pushing me to actually go to therapy, then yeah, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened. But that was hard. It was hard to accept that I wasn't feeling myself. It was hard to talk about it. And it was even harder to reach out for help and go for therapy. So that was really tough. But one of the things it did do is it opened my world to how our brains work. I was determined to understand more about our brains, why they work this way we do. And so 2019 started my journey of personal development, really. That's where I really started investing into different courses, learning about the brains, learning about mindset, a lot of mindset courses, a couple of different coaches, and just been gaining all this knowledge over the past 6 years, to the point where in 2023 I decided to do my certification to become a life coach to help other people, specifically men. And the main purpose for that was to pick them up a lot earlier on the road than where I was, so then I could send them down a different path so they don't end up in the situation that I was in. And that's been the purpose that I've been focused on for the last year. But men don't talk. They're getting better. We're talking about men, the fact that men aren't talking. But for me, it was this whole podcast. The whole reason why I was creating it is I'm trying to encourage that conversation more. How do I do that? Do a podcast, get two guys talking about different things, hopefully other people will relate, can all relate to like struggles of failure in different aspects, and hopefully then inspire people. Like the first thing I wanted to know is if I'll ever, quote unquote, feel better, or feel myself, should I say. And hearing that other people have been through not the exact same experience, because all our experiences are unique, but maybe they've had a event or something in their life that you can relate to in these people's stories, and you can see that they've got through it, hear where they were and then hear where they are now, and be inspired to then start taking action and improving your own life. And that's ultimately what it's about. Both the podcast and my coaching is aimed to help men lead happier, healthier lives. So that's where we are. That's who I am, or a little bit about me, and that's why I started the Resilient Man podcast. Thanks for listening.